The heart is far deeper than the mind. Often, when people get a heart transplant, something other than just the flesh and blood is added to them when they get the new physical heart. The subconscious mind is still the mind. The things of the heart are completely different, much deeper than the mind. Feelings will control the mind and emotions. Heart things are somehow beyond feelings. Feelings come and go, but the heartfelt things remain. When your heart is right, you can overcome all mental and emotional things. Emotions are deeper than mental things, but again, the heart of a person rules the day. You must get your heart right to get your life right. God said that King David had a heart for him. He did some bad things, even murder, but he still had a heart for God, because when he was called out for what he did, he fell on his knees and repented and asked God for forgiveness. Sometimes we get caught up in the world and go the way of the world for a time, but if our hearts are right, it will bring us back to the truth. Sometimes our hearts are overcome with the cares of the world, but having a heart right will bring us back. We may be overcome with a heartbreaking situation, but in time, if our hearts are right, our hearts will bring us back to living, feeling again. Nothing will convert people to believing except a heart change. Words won't cut it. Thoughts of goodness won't. Your living example will help. And keep in mind, your children won't follow anything you think or say. They will follow what you live, how you trusted others. There's no fooling them, not even for a short time. How you lived your daily life. What situations did you take advantage of others? You have taught them to do so. If you disrespect God, they will take that lesson to heart. Of course, if you live an exemplifying life, that will stay with them also. It will be a building block for their lives. But of course, they have free will to live the life they choose. How often was there wicked kings, but their children were righteous, and vice versa? It always comes to free will for all of us. We choose in the end who we will serve. So in the end, you can't blame your life on anyone but yourself. I know there are some extreme circumstances, but if you're reading this, you're not one of them likely. Choose you this day who you will serve. Pretty simple. Even a simpleton can do it. The great news is that everyone has a new day and a new chance to get it right. We can start a clean slate today, right now. We could start over again every day and get our lives right as we choose. There is no wasted life that can't have help and influence and change for today. It is not what happened to you, it's what you're going to do with it. If you failed 100 times and survived them, you have rhino skin. You can certainly make it or die trying. The journey is important. People revel in how they got where they are, even more than arriving. They enjoy the trip. How often have you planned a trip and planned it for months and then went on the trip and the planning was is exciting, more exciting than drift. It's in the doing of life where life is, where excitement is. Living a fulfilled life is where it's at. Not, I have arrived and I'm just watch the sunsets from here on. Remembering and reminiscing about how great the journey was. I think life is best lived to the last day. $75, $85, $90, these are just numbers. They're meaningless unless we give them meaning. How many people died within 2 years of retiring from the railroad? That was the average death 2 years after retiring. Because they stopped living, they stopped doing. Don't let doing nothing spoil your retirement years. You know more now than you've ever known. Why would you stop learning now? I was high up in a building where we were melting metal, way up in the north, middle of nowhere, 18 years old, and thought, you've done it all. There's nothing left worth living for. And then suddenly a spirit of refreshing flowed over me and said, you have just begun. You have everything ahead of you. Many seniors have reached the same place. Why bother living? But you've just begun. You're now in a position with all you have learned to contribute more than you have ever done in your life. Do you think you're dumber now? Yeah, maybe some things, maybe certain memory parts in your mind aren't working well, but do you think you're more stupid? I don't think so. Don't let all that hard learning, all the years you spent learning, those thousands of dollars go to waste now. You paid in blood, sweat, and tears what you have learned, and you need to start giving it to others to begin a new beginning. For this is not your last days, and don't be thinking that. I believe it was Carnegie, the steel millionaire, that when one of his managers lost several $100,000 in a business decision, which would be like millions today, they said, well, you got to fire him. And he said, certainly not. I just paid several $100,000 for his education. Okay. So you pay some heavy dues for some of your education. Don't let it be wasted. Let your kids, your grandkids, your friends, let the world have some benefit from what you've done. So in the end, it's not what happened to you. It's whether you will use your life experience as stepping stones and not sinking stones. When Edison was asked, how did you keep going with over 1,000 failures in the light bulb? And he said, no, not failures, just 1,000 ways on how not to make a light bulb. So he didn't see them as failures. In fact, he took some of the things of those failures he learned and he applied them to many other inventions and ideas he came up with. So, no, carefully look at what your failures are. There may be something there. So I don't care where you are in life. Use your life experiences as stepping stones and do the greatest things now in your old age, if that's your case. Do them now. There's never been a better time. You've never been smarter. Amen.